Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to Worship Wednesday with me, Elder Marques Ford. Listen, we have come here on assignment to pray. We've come here on assignment to bombard heaven. We've come here on an assignment to let the devil know that he's lost yet again. I'm going to keep saying it because I'm going to keep declaring it. The devil tried it, but he failed and he lost yet again. So let's not waste time. Let's go ahead and just bombard heaven. Let's go ahead and get our petition out and get them met with God through prayer. Let's bow our heads. God, we come right now. First of all, God, giving you honor and glory for who you are. We come right now, God, giving you praise for what you've done. We come right now, God, giving you praise for what you're doing. And we come right now, giving you praise for what you're going to do. God, we thank you for all that we've done, all that you've done for us. We thank you for all the good, the bad, and the ugly that we've experienced, God, because it was through those times that you've shown yourself strong. It was through those times that you've shown yourself mighty. It was through those times that you've shown us time and time again that you are a healer. You've shown us time and time again that you are a way maker. You've shown us time and time again that you are a provider. You've shown us time and time again, not only will you provide, but you will bring us out. And we thank you for bringing us out of bondage. We thank you for bringing us out of depression. We thank you for bringing us out of low self-esteem. We thank you for bringing us out of heartache, God, because it was through those times, God, we didn't know where we would go. It was through those times we didn't know who we could turn to. It was through those times we didn't know who we could rely on, God, but we know one thing, that we can turn to and rely on you, God. So thank you for always making yourself available to us, God, even when it felt like we didn't know where you were, God, you were still there. Even when it felt like we didn't know how to reach you, God, you were still there. We know we called on others and they declined our call, God. We tried to call on our friends, but they declined the call. We tried to call on our loved ones, but they didn't pick up the phone. But we know that we can call on you and you will pick up every time. We know that we can just simply send out a message to you and you will not leave us on red. We know that we can simply just say your name and you will respond. So thank you for your response, God. Thank you for being our first responder. I know we have nurses and doctors and firefighters and policemen that have been responding throughout the pandemic, that have been responding whenever we call 911, but we know of another 911 that is in the name of Jesus, that you said in your word in Psalms 9:91-1, that if he who dwelleth in the secret place of the most high God shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So thank you for being our 911 responder. Thank you for being the one that we can call on, and not only will you respond, but you will deliver, God. So thank you for delivering your healing angels. Thank you for delivering your comforting angels. Thank you for delivering your protecting angels. Thank you for delivering your covering angels. Because every time we felt like we needed it, every time, even when we didn't feel like we needed, you were always there. So we thank you for being there, God. Thank you for being a keeper, God. Thank you for being a mind regulator. Thank you for not allowing us to lose our mind in the times when we should have lost our mind. Thank you for not allowing us to lose our way when we should have lost our way. Thank you for not allowing us to lose our love for you when we should have lost love for you a long time ago, God. So we come today just simply saying two words: thank you. Because if it wasn't for you, God, we don't know where we would be. It sounds cliche, but it is so absolutely true in this time and in this moment, because we don't know where we would be if you had not been on our side. We don't know how far we would be able to go if it wasn't for you being there. We don't know how far we would have been able to come if you had not been there. So we want to just simply say thank you and give you honor and glory, God, for bringing us out, bringing us over, and bringing us through, for allowing your hands to be around us, for allowing your hands to cover us, for allowing your hands to carry us when we ran out of energy, when we didn't want to walk anymore. You pushed us forward. When we didn't want to keep going, you gave us nourishment to keep pushing. When we wanted to throw in the towel, you picked the towel back up and you told us to keep pressing, to keep going, to keep pressing toward the mark. Like my boy Paul said, keep pressing toward the mark of the high calling in Jesus, God. So we're going to just keep pressing, just simply because you want us to. We're going to keep pressing, not because of the reward that's ahead, but because you called us to do that. You've called us not to give up. You've called us not to quit. So we're going to keep pressing and keep moving, and we're going to keep believing and trusting in you. So God, we thank you. We give you honor and glory. And it's in the mighty name of Jesus we pray. Amen. Listen, I hope that today is the day that the Lord has made for you. I hope that you're taking advantage of this time. And with that being said, I want to go ahead and give you a quick word from the book of Job. Job is absolutely positively one of my absolute favorite books of the Bible. It's one of the first books of the Bible that I've read in its entirety. And I'm coming from Job chapter 23. And it simply says this. Job replied, even today, my complaint is bitter. His hand is heavy in spite of my groaning. If only I knew where to find him, if only I could go to his dwelling, I would state my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would find out what he would answer me and consider what he would say to me. Would he vigorously oppose me? No, he would not press charges against me. There the upright can establish their innocence before him, and there I would be delivered forever from my judge. But here it is, verse 8 says, but if I go to the east, he is not there. If I go to the west, I do not find him. When he is at work in the north, I do not see him. When he turns to the south, I catch no glimpse of him. But he knows the way that I take. And when he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. What I like about Job, man, Job is the epitome of what happens when you rely on God. Job is the epitome of what happens when you trust God. Job went through everything under the sun. We've heard the story of Job. We've seen certain interpretations of the story of Job, but we have to realize Job went through everything. When I say everything, he literally went through everything. He literally lost everything he had. He literally had his family members die. He literally had his friends turn his back on him. He literally had his wife to say, look, Job, I'm tired of you suffering. I'm tired of you going through. I just need you. Look, just cuss God and end it. I don't want to see you suffer anymore. I don't want to see you go through this anymore. It's hurting me to see you suffer. Just curse God and die. But Job said, no, I can't do that, because I know the God that I serve. I know what he does for me. I know what he's brought me through. And he said, though he slay me, this is the word of Job's, yet will I trust him. Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. So I've come here to remind you that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're doing, no matter what's going on, you had to go through it. You had to go through the pain. You had to go through the suffering. You had to go through the heartache. And what I like about Job is giving us his cry. He's giving us his reply to God. He's giving us his reply to his friend. His friend came to him. One friend came to him and said, hey, Job, listen, you lost your land, man. I don't know what to tell you, but I went out to the field and I didn't see any land. I didn't see any cattle, I didn't see none of that stuff. It's gone. Then Job said, oh man, I lost my land. What am I going to do? Then another friend came and said, hey man, listen, I went to go get your kids. You wanted your kids to have dinner with you, but I went to the house and they all were dead. So, oh man, I lost my kids. Then Job lost his money. He lost everything. But what I like about Job did this. Job sat in the middle of his floor. He broke a pot and he cut the flesh of his pot. He even dealt with boils and sores on his body. And he said to God, naked I came into this world and naked shall I leave. And I will still praise you regardless of what I'm going through. I don't know who I'm talking to today, but you've been going through some things. You've been going through some circumstances. You've been going through some ailments, some sickness, you've been going through some calamities in your life. But I remind you and let you know, just to Job, that no matter what you're going through, yeah, it's hurting right now. Yeah, you don't know what's going on. Yeah, you can figure out how to make a way out. You don't know how to make ends meet. Yeah, you don't know what your next meal or what your next move is going to be. But I need to remind you today that you need to take the time to just sit and reflect on what God has done for you. And you let the devil and yourself know that naked I came into this world and naked shall I leave. And I'm going to give you glory, God, in the middle of all of it. Isaac Curry, thank you so much for saying it for me. I'm going to praise you in the middle of it. In the middle of my circumstance, I'm going to give you glory. In the middle of my heartache, I'm going to give you praise. In the middle of my frustration, I'm going to give you honor, because it is you that made a way for me, not my friends, not my family members. It is you that made a way for me, not my loved ones, but it is you. It is you who brought me out of bondage. It is you who brought me out of darkness and into the marvelous light. So God, I have to give you glory, because it is you that brought me out. But not only did you bring me out, God, but you brought me through. Not only did you bring me through, God, but you brought me over. I couldn't climb that mountain if it wasn't for you. I couldn't go around that obstacle if it wasn't for you. I wouldn't be able to have the strength to run through that obstacle if it wasn't for you. So God, I'm going to give you glory despite of what I'm going through. Now, what I like about what Job did, Job said, even today, my complaint is bitter. His hand is heavy in spite of my groaning. I mean, God was dealing with him. God was dealing with Job. Despite of him saying, God, I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired of frustrating. God was dealing with him. So God's hand was heavy on his life. Then he said, if only I knew where to find him, if only I could go to his dwelling, I would state my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would find out what he would answer me and consider what he would say to me. Haven't we all been there before, where we wanted to plead our case and state our case? No, we don't have a law degree, but we do feel some type of unction to say, hey man, listen, I need to state my case. Like, look, God, like, I don't know why it is you're putting me through what you're putting me through. I don't know why it is I'm going through what I'm going through, God, but you know me, like you know where I come from. I come from a good background. I may have done a little wrong, but God, you saw fit to save me. God, I'm the same guy. I'm the same lady that has been praying to you night in and night out. God, I'm the same one that has been singing your praises night in and day out. God, I'm the same one that reads my Bible. I'm the one that calls on you. I'm the one that goes out and tell people about you. I'm the one that's pushing people to give you glory. I'm the one that goes to church on Sunday. I'm the one that attends Bible study on Wednesday. It's me. You remember, I'm the one that I'm your boy. I'm your girl. I'm the one that's your chosen one. You chose me to do this thing. So Job went to plead his case, and then what I like Job did, Job began to argue his case. He began to say, would he answer me? But then he say, hey, but would he vigorously oppose me? Like, if I came to God, see, Job began to get realistic with it. He began to say, so if I come to God, like, would God oppose me? Would God turn away from me? I mean, I know, like Job, like, I know he's God. Like, that's just like us. We begin to think, like, God, I know that you're God. I know that you're the omniscient one. I know that you're the omnipresent one. I know that you're the one that provides. I know that you're the one that makes a way out of no way. I know that you're the one that the creator of all things, the creator of the earth. I know you are the author and the finisher of my faith. I know who you are. So if I go to you, man, the one that's done everything. See, that's just like us. Before we go to God, we start to rethink what we're doing. We start to sit to ourselves and say, okay, let's listen to it. If I don't want to go to God with this, because God might get on me, man. God might not give me the blessing that I've been praying for. God might not give me that breakthrough that I've been seeking, because he know, even though I know he knows it, I know he knows what I'm dealing with. If I go to him, if I petition to him, if I cry to him, if he already knows it, then why am I doing it anyway? Why am I crying to God if he already knows it? Why am I going to God if he feels my pain, if he feels my struggle? But then what I like that Job said, he said no. He wouldn't press charges. Then Job began to answer himself. It's just like us. I don't know. I can't be the only one on here. I thank y'all for commenting. I see your comments, and I bless you for that. But I know I'm not the only one that asked the question and didn't answer it. I know they used to say that if you answer your own question, then you must be crazy. So I know that we didn't. We asked our question. So Job answered his own question and said, "No, he wouldn't press no charges against me. God wouldn't do me like that, because I'm His chosen one." See, I don't know who I'm talking to, but I want to remind you that you are His chosen one. So it's okay to ask God questions. It's okay to petition to God. It's okay to call God on the carpet, because you are His chosen one. You are a royal nation. You are a royal priesthood. You are one. You are the called out one. So God is using you to do his work. God is using you to do what he needs you to do. So why not ask questions? Why not ask what's going on? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? When he's called you to be the chosen one. So you going to God saying, God, if I'm that one, then why am I dealing with this? If I'm that one, why are you putting me through this? And if I come to you with the question, will you oppose me? Will you turn me away? Will you not answer what I'm saying? No, because the Bible declares that the word that we put into heaven, it will not return unto us void. The Bible declares that whatever we loose on earth, it shall be loosed in heaven. The Bible declares that whatever we bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. So no, he won't oppose us. And then he says that. Then he figured out who he was. Here we go. First, Job petitioned God. First, Job pleaded his case. He began to do his best Johnny Cochran impression and plead his case. And he began to ask God a question. Then he began to question, say, okay, if I ask God this question, will he oppose me? Okay, then Job said, no, he can't oppose me because I'm his boy. Then he says, there the upright can establish their innocence before him, and there I will be delivered forever from my judge. So then he realized who he was. Listen, I don't know who I'm talking to today, but it needs to be time for you to realize who you are. See, you may have been going through circumstance after circumstance. You may have been dealing with thing after thing. You may have been dealing with this and that, and you may have been wondering why you're continuously going through this cycle of suffering. You're continuously going through this cycle of frustration. You're continuously going through this cycle of confusion. You're continuously going through this cycle of pain, and you're wondering why you're going through this cycle. It's because you realize who you are in God. You are what we call going through an identity crisis. You don't know who you are in God, and God is here. I'm here to remind you, rather, that you are a child of the King. I'm here to remind you that you are a child of God. I'm here to remind you that you are the lender and not the borrower. I'm here to remind you that you are the head and not the tail. Here we go down to Lawrence. I'm here to remind you that you are above and not beneath. You are the chosen one. So you need to realize who you are. You need to realize, like Job did, that you are upright and you can talk your talk. You can walk your walk to God because God picked you out. Pick them out to pick you out. God didn't tell nobody else to pick you out. God handpicked you himself. God handpicked you to be the one to deliver your family. God handpicked you to be the one to deliver the lost ones to him. God handpicked you. So here we go. So he handpicked you and he established you. He established your place. He established your purpose. He established who you are. He established what you're supposed to be. He established where you're supposed to go. And then Job got a little tricky. Then Job began to realize what God did, but he noticed that he couldn't see God. He noticed that he couldn't see God. He noticed that he began to look around and say, wait. Who am I talking to? Like, it feels like I'm talking to myself. Like, who am I talking to? Because he said, if I go to the east, he's not there. If I go to the west, I don't find him. But when he's at work in the north, I do not see him. And when he turns to the south, I have no glimpse of him. See, Job began to realize that yeah, I know God. Yeah, I know God called me. I know God established me. I know God handpicked me, but it's like I still can't find him. In other words, like my bishop used to say, God rest his soul, it's hard to trust God when you can't trace him. God had no trace of where Job had no trace of where God was. Job had no trace of where God was. So Job began to realize, how can I trust somebody that I can't see? God, how can I trust somebody if I go to the east, if I go to the west and the north and the south, I have no glimpse of him. I can't see him. I can't find him. I can't reach out and touch. The songwriter said, reach out and touch somebody's hand. I can't reach out and touch God. I can't reach out and grab him and grab hold of him. But so how in the world, why is it that I can't see him? Why is it that I can find him? Why is it that I don't know where he is? Then he goes to say, but he knows the way that I take. I don't know him, but he knows me. Listen, God Almighty, you may not know where God is. You may not be able to see God. You may not be able to feel God, but trust and believe that God knows you. Trust and believe not only does he know you, he knows the way that you take. He knows when you're going to mess up. He knows when you're about to throw in the towel. He knows when you're about to give up. He knows when you're about to call it quits. He knows when you're about to get angry. He knows when you're about to get frustrated. And isn't it good to know that you know somebody that knows you better than you know yourself? If that's you, I need you to put into the comment section, I'm glad God knows me. God knows me. He knows me from the inside out. The Bible declares that he knew me before I was formed in my mother's womb. He knew every hair follicle on my head. He knew what my thoughts were going to be before I thought it. He knew where I was going to take my next step before I took it. He knew who I was going to call before I picked up the phone. God knows you. And not only does he know you, he knows the way that you take. How does God know the way that I take? How does God know if I'm going to keep going forward to the right, to the left, or if I'm going to keep going backward? Because he orders my steps. The Bible declares that the steps of a good man are ordered by God. So you aren't the ones that's taking the steps towards your purpose. You aren't the one that's taking the steps towards your breakthrough. You aren't the one that's taking the steps towards your blessing. God is ordering your steps, and God is ordering your steps not only for you to receive your breakthrough, your blessing, but God is ordering your steps for you to receive your purpose. You see, every step you take is a purpose. Every move you make is a purpose. Every way you take, there's a purpose. So I don't care how the outlook may seem. I don't care how it looks from your eye. I don't care how you can look out into the vast ocean. You can look out amongst the land and see every obstacle in front of you. But it may look like an obstacle to you, but it is nothing but a test from God. Every obstacle you face is a test from God. And he's testing to see if you're willing to go through it. He's testing to see if you're willing to go over it. He's testing to see if you're willing to go around it, because every test that you take is nothing but setting you up for your testimony. In other words, your setback is setting you up for your comeback. Yeah, the devil might have tried to set you back from who you used to be. Yeah, the devil might have tried to pull you back every time you took another step. But every pullback, every step, every setback was nothing but a setup for your comeback. God is setting you up. There it is. God is setting you up to make the best comeback as you ever make. Yeah, you used to do bad things. Yeah, people used to talk. You used to talk about them. Yeah, you used to do it from the window to the wall. But I'm here to let you know that was nothing but a setup, because God is using that setup not only to deliver you and to bring you out, but he's using that setup to push you to your comeback. I want you to put in the comment section that it is my comeback season. It is my time to come back. It is my time to come back from being who I used to be. No longer will I be broke again. No longer will I be famished again. No longer will I be frustrated again. No longer will I deal with low self-esteem. No longer will I be depressed again. No longer will I lose my mind again. No longer will I allow those people to dictate my destiny. No longer will I allow my friends to determine my outcome. No longer will I allow myself to get in my own way and refuse to give God glory. No longer will I allow myself to get in my own way and not get the blessings that God has for me, because it is my time for my comeback. It is my comeback season. It's not your season to clap back. It's your season to come back. Come on, somebody. It's not my season to talk back to you. It's not my season to regurgitate what I want to say. It's not my season to rebuttal what you got to say. It's my season for my comeback. And all God is going to do, he's going to do the same thing he did with David in Psalm 23. He's going to prepare a table for in the presence of your enemies, and every hater that tried to turn thumbs down on you, every hater that tried to sabotage your blessing, every hater that tried to come between you and God, everybody that thought you weren't going to make it, he's going to allow them to sit at your table, and they're going to watch you come back. They're going to watch you come back better than you've ever been. They're going to watch you come back wiser than you ever were. They're going to watch you come back with more anointing than you could ever fathom. They're going to watch you come back with more grace than you ever could think of. They're going to watch you come back with more favor than you could ever feel. And I don't know about you, but I'm so glad that the favor of God is on me. And I'm so glad that when I walk out of my house, I'm walking out in favor. I'm so glad when I walk into my job, I'm walking in with favor. I'm so glad that when I get into my car, I'm getting inside favor. And I'm here to let you know today that favor is on you. And everybody not going to be able to handle the favor has on your life. Everybody is not going to be able to handle the favor that God has around your life. So in other words, the people around you aren't going to be able to handle you. And because they're not able to handle you, then they need to get away from you. And get away from you, that you need to redirect them and let them know which way to go, because you are on the path of God and God is redirecting you to your purpose. He's redirecting you. He's redirecting you to your purpose. Then what I like about the last part, he says, well, he knows the way that I take, and when he's tested me, when he's tried me, I shall come forth as gold. I shall come forth as gold. I shall come forth as something better. See, the thing we have to understand real quick before I have to get off, the thing we have to understand about this gold, in order for gold to get into the form that is in, there's a process. There's a process that gold has to go through. Gold has, first of all, it comes from the ground. Gold comes from the ground. We know how gold miners used to be back in the day. They used to go into the caves, and then they used to go into the rivers and dig in and try to get the gold nuggets. They try to get the gold nuggets out of the rivers. They try to get the gold nuggets out of the cave. And so when they get it, gold is in its pure form. In its purest form is a really deconformed rock. It looks like a gold deconformed, not deconformed, it's like a gold weird looking rock. It doesn't look like a bar. It doesn't look like a gold ball. It's like a little nugget or whatever, right? So but in order for it to get to its purest form, it has to go through the process. They have to go through a process of melting. We have to melt the gold. The reason why the gold is melted, because it has to get all the impure chemicals out of it. It has to get all the other substances out of it. See, God does us the same way. Sometimes God, in order for us to get to our purest form, in order for us out as gold, we have to go through a process. God has to dig us out of the dirt that we're in. There it is. God has to dig us out of the rut that we're in. God has to dig us out of the circumstance that we're in. And when he digs us out, he takes us and he looks at us and he dusts off the dirt that's on the outside. He dusts off the clay. He dusts off the mud, and he sees the gold. It looks a little dull and it's not as shiny as he wants it to. So he takes it and then he puts it in a fire. He puts it in the fire for it to melt. And what happens is, when the reason why you have to go through the fire, good God Almighty, the reason why you had to go through your circumstance, the reason why you had to go through your situation, because God had to put you in the fire to clean you. God had to put you in the fire to make you right. God had to put you in the fire to get those things that are not like him out of you. A lot of us are going through too much because we're dealing with certain things internally that are not like God. So God has to burn the things that are not like him out of you and melt it out of you. And then once God melts it, it becomes a liquid. So in other words, God took you from one place, from one state of being to another. See, I don't know who I'm talking to today, but you need to hear me clearly. God is not only He's not taking you from situation to situation. God is not causing you to go through situation after situation, but he's changing your state. He's changing your outlook. He's changing your body. He's changing how he created you. So he reshapes you and remolds you in order for you to be where he needs you to be. So God had to take you from a good, lumpy, deformed looking state to a liquidy state. And then when he takes you out of the liquidy state, he puts you in a container to where you're going to meet your final form, your final stage. So in order for us to get to a gold bar, it has to be put into a container, and once it's put into a container, then it hardens and it comes out shinier, better looking, and guess what? It comes out with more value. Gold is at its greatest value when it's purified. Gold is at its greatest value when it's cleansed of the infirmities of the other chemicals that are inside of it. In other words, you are at your greatest value. There it is. You are at your greatest value when God purifies you. You are at your greatest value when God cleanses you. You are at your greatest value when God pulls out of you the things that are not like him. And when he puts you out, and when he pulls out those things, he's able to put you on a shelf and put you on the pedestal and say, here's my creation. Here's what I needed you to be. In other words, you can't get to your purpose until God cleanses you. You can't get to your breakthrough until God purifies you. So stop trying to fight what God is doing and allow God to do a work in you. Allow God to do a work in you and through you. Missy Elliott said it like this: if it's worth it, then let him work it. Let God work out the details. Let God work out what he needs to do in order to make you and purify you and make you better than you once were. You had to go through it. You had to go through the pain. You had to go through the heartache. You had to go through the circumstance. You had to go through the frustration in order to get for you to get to where God needs you to be. I don't know who I'm talking to today, but if you're listening and you're tuning into this live, even if you're watching the replay, know and trust and believe that God is taking you through some things because it is necessary. What you're dealing with, what you're going through, is necessary for you to get to where God needs you to be. You're not going to get to where God needs you to be until you allow him to do a work in you and allow him to do a work through you and allow him to cleanse you and make you better than you once were. Listen, I don't know who I'm talking to today, but trust and believe that God is not through with you yet. If you believe it, just say, I receive it. God is not through with you yet. But when God gets through with you, as the songwriter said, when God gets through with me, I will come forth, as like my boy Job said, as pure gold. Listen, I thank you and I appreciate you for tuning in with me today on Worship Wednesday live here on the Win Network. Listen, make sure you tune in with me every week at the same time on Wednesdays at 12 noon. Tune in on the Win Network for Worship Wednesday with me, Elder Marques Ford. I hope you have a blessed and prosperous day, and I hope you allow God to do what he has to do, because when he gets through with you, you're going to come out as pure gold, better, stronger, and more anointed than you've ever been in your life. I love you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.
Hey everybody, this is Regina Hutt, the wellness practitioner on Empowered Mornings. We'd like to invite you every Wednesday night, 8 p.m., uniquely and gorgeous, to keep your mind locked and loaded on Win Network.